Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to JAZZAlive at the University of the District of Columbia. I'm Cheryl Hawkins, and I'm senior producer and programmer with UDC Cable TV. It is really nice to see your faces here at the UDC Theater of the Arts. We've been caged in for close to 2 years, and so it's really nice to get a little freedom to come out and be with each other. So I want to welcome you to this evening's event, and for those of you who are with us via UDC Jazz YouTube or the DC Jazz Festival Facebook live stream, I want to welcome you too. For us here at UDC JAZZAlive, JAZZAlive is not just a saying. For us, it includes things like our Jazz Studies program, our exciting calendar of events, our research and outreach programs here on the campus, and of course, the Felix E. Grant Jazz Archives, all right here on the campus of the University of the District of Columbia, the city's only public institution of higher education. We're really proud of what we do here. So one of JAZZAlive's signature programs is Allyn Johnson and Meet the Artist on the Bandstand, which you're going to experience with us here this evening. Allyn initiated this series in 2015, and over the years, he's conducted about 30 sessions. So those of you who have been to those sessions, you know that you're in for a treat. But those of you, if this is your first time, you are about to be entertained. So we want to thank DC Jazz Festival for this opportunity to co-present with them for tonight's program as a part of Orrin Evans's Artist in Residency with DC Jazz Festival. JAZZAlive has been collaborating with DC Jazz Festival since about 2015, and we can truly say that this has been an enjoyable collaboration. So in addition to DC Jazz Festival, we want to thank the UDC College of Arts and Sciences, the music program, UDC TV, and Prosperity Media for their support of this evening's program. And now to keep things moving so we can get to the music and the conversation, please welcome to the stage with a warm round of applause, the president and CEO of DC Jazz Festival, Sonny Sumter.
Good evening. I know you came here for the music, but one of the things that I have to do in my role is to thank the funder that made the Jazz Creative Residency possible, and that's South Arts. I don't know if Sarah Donnelly is here this evening, but if she is, or if you're listening online, thank you for really creating that project so that mid-career artists, who most of them are so outstanding in their art form, are able to have real residencies like the one that we are experiencing this week with Orrin Evans. And so I want to give it up to South Arts, which is supported in part by the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation and the Mellon Foundation. I'd also like to thank the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities for their support of this evening's performance. And so without further ado, we can't hear you out there in your living room, but as much as we can, let's make up for it and give a warm, huge round of applause for Allyn Johnson and Orrin Evans.
All right, we are here. Again, welcome everybody. It's my great honor and privilege to have my man, Orrin Evans, here with us on tonight. Yes. Orrin Evans, again, was, or is, artist in residence this year for the DC Jazz Festival. And I'm so glad he could make it tonight. And we're going to, just talk a little bit. But, I like to play, so hopefully we're not going to talk too much. But Orrin, I've been checking out some interviews. One of the interviews with Mike Moreno, which I thought was a great interview. And you briefly talked about your, coming up in Trenton and going to Philly. Can you, just kind of briefly talk about your journey from Trenton to, well, as a child, I guess?
No. Well, basically, if I have to claim Trenton because Trenton people be in the audience sometimes, and they know. They're like, you keep saying you from Philly, but I knew your mama and papa, so I have to make sure that I claim Trenton all the time. But I had a great time growing up in Trenton, but I was really, at that time, into riding bikes and BMXing and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I moved to Philadelphia, I moved to a neighborhood with no kids. So I was just me. So then I started falling in love with the piano. Mm-hmm. So I always look, because we always had piano in the household.
Yeah.
So I always look at that trip from Trenton to Philly as one thing that is really important in my life, because I may have never really gotten into piano if I stayed in Trenton.
Yeah.
But that's the trip, and that happened around 6th grade. And so instead of riding my bike, I just started banging on the piano. Banging literally. I wasn't playing, but banging, and that's how that all started.
Yeah. Are there any memories, I guess, from your early childhood that I guess stick out before Philly?
Oh, without a doubt, because my mother was an opera singer, my father was a playwright, so we had, little cabarets at the house and things like that. So I really remember those little parties, because the kids would be sitting Indian style, and someone like Sonia Sanchez might have stopped by and is reading poetry.
Wow.
Or my mother was singing, and some other well-known pianist was there playing for her. So it was just really, but I didn't think that was special, honestly, at that time.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was like, everybody got James Earl Jones stopping by. Like, I thought that was,
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was older, and I was like, oh, wow, how blessed I was to have that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think things like that may not have seemed insignificant. I mean, to us as a child, we probably didn't know, but it probably, probably just seeped in,
Oh, without a doubt.
I believe that,
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Some kind of DNA,
Exactly.
So also, one other thing I kind of checked out in that interview, you said, I guess I'm kind of skipping ahead, but when you moved to Philly, you started working at a jazz club, or you were running a jazz club?
Yeah, that was when I was that was my first year in college. And I would come back. When I left Philadelphia, I was at Rutgers, which is right down the road, about 45 minutes in Jersey, about an hour. And I came back every Monday because this club in Philly had a new jam session on Mondays. So I'd drive and bring the students, some of my friends down, and we'd sit in. So the first time we went down there, we sat in, we had our whole thing worked out. And I was, being a little MC on the microphone. But little did I know that night they had just fired their manager. So they came over to me that night, and I was under 21 at the time. But I always used to lie about my age. But so I'm sitting there, and they said, would you like a job as the manager? And I started managing and booking. That's exactly the club. I met Kenny Garrett, and I booked Kenny Barron on a gig there. I had some great things,
This is at 19 years old?
I was 19. They didn't know that, though, but they eventually found it out. But that was, you had to fill out too many papers.
Yeah. So it seemed like you had, like an inkling of sort of the entrepreneurial bug in you at the age of 19. Now, I guess you're running your record label. We'll talk about that. But did you know that, music, as a pianist, you want to be doing music as a pianist, or at that time you thought you were going to be kind of running a jazz club? Or
I knew I was going to be around music.
Okay.
And that I was going to find a way to make money from music. I knew that at that time. I didn't know whether it was going to be you know, I had no idea what I was gonna play in a wedding band, be a sound guy, go on the road, play. I mean, my first tour was with Miles J on this smooth jazz tour, opening for this unknown saxophonist at the time, Boney James.
Oh,
so,
okay.
like, I didn't know. Like, I had no idea where. It was just music, and I was happy to play music at that point, whatever, you know, whatever, play it or be a part of it, be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's what I knew I wanted to do.
Okay. Were you at Rutgers at that time again, right? And who were you studying with at Rutgers?
Well, of course, Kenny Barron, and also Joanne Brakeem. And theory-wise was Ralph Bowen. So I learned a lot from him as far as theory. And my lessons with Kenny Barron were just about life. And we would just get together, 2 pianos in a room, and play. And he would give a new tune each week. Yeah. And you had to check it out. And it was really just the opportunity to fellowship with him that was really important, you know?
Yeah, I remember seeing advertisements of Kenny Barron being at Rutgers, and I was like, man, I want to go to Rutgers, because Kenny Barron, I mean, I was a point, you know, in my career, that's all I like listened to. It was Kenny Barron, all the records, you know, because I wanted to go, you know, study with Kenny Barron myself. Let's go back to Trenton. What is Trenton known for? Now, I'm asking this question for a reason, because just as far as your influence, your early influence, you know, just is Trenton? What is Trenton known for?
I don't know, but
okay,
but
that's real.
Musically, anybody isn't it like what was it? Y'all know? I hear people talking. Anybody out there?
What is Trenton known for?
Okay, all right, good. I'm just glad I'm not the only one. That was kind of making me feel special. But one of the things, there's some great, as far as for me, you know, I got a chance to connect with Johnny Coles, one of the artists that came out of here. I'm just talking about art now, so that's what I told you. Then there was one of the first killing rap groups for me, Poor Righteous Teachers came out of Trenton. And a lot of good things, but I don't know what it's known for, but I do know that the logo was Trenton Makes, the World Takes, which is about, come on, y'all.
Oh, you know?
I know, they're not really, they know. Go ahead, you know now.
Trenton style.
Google it.
Richie Cole.
Richie Cole,
Yeah, I played with him, and he would always say that on band. It's Trenton style, baby.
Exactly.
I remember.
Exactly.
Yeah, Richie Cole, I remember that. I actually want, because I want to play some more, but I'm actually one more question, and we can hit. Philly. What drew you to Philly?
Well, that's where both my parents are from, no matter what.
Okay.
So like, there was always, you know, that was the magnet. You know, going back there. My father went to Temple, so we went back there because of my mother's family was there, and my father's mother was still there. Yeah. So it was getting back to family. We didn't have any family, only in Trenton. Okay. In Trenton, it was just us. Yeah. So everybody else was in Philly.
Okay. You know, Philly, how would you, of course, Philly has a thing. How would you describe Philly in a sound? Like, you know, everybody, you know, there are great musicians that, of course, come out of Philly. There must be something in the water. You're like, you know, does Philly have a sound to you?
Definitely, there's a I'll find the word, a relaxedness to the beat. Okay. That I hear, whether it's stuff from Gamble and Huff, or whether it's, you know, jazz like Mickey Roker and Bobby Durham. It's just a relaxed, you know, when I first moved to other places, like, oh wow, it was just a little more urgency in the beat. Other places. Yeah. But Philly, I really, to the point that I kind of thought, you know, people in Philly were dragging. Okay, I'm just for me, you know. And then I figured out, no, I wasn't old enough, you know, to really understand like where the beat was. Yeah. And so it's just a really, even when you hear McCoy Tyner and he's playing those fifths and every there's a just a lope also to the beat. You know, you listen to Trudy Pitts. There's and all these. Everybody's probably wondering exactly what I mean, but it's in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that Prego sauce. It's like it's in there, and you get to hear it, and you can hear it, and not just Philly people.
Yeah.
I can hear, man. I can.
DC
Chicago,
definitely has that.
DC.
DC definitely has that.
You know,
you got Shirley, and she's way behind the beat. You know,
yeah.
Shirley is like
Exactly.
over here. The beat is like,
yeah.
That's one thing I think we have in common as far as the Philly sound and DC sound. Even one of my favorite pianists, Reuben Brown. You listen to.
Oh yeah.
You listen to him and Steve. Listen to Steve.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
That thing is like.
It's relaxed. It's grown folks. It's you know.
Yeah.
Ain't no hurry.
Right. I remember playing with a drummer from New York when I was much younger. And man, I thought he was Russian.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to learn that everybody has
a different
beat. Yeah, it's not right or wrong.
Yeah.
You know.
Unless it's Russian.
Yeah. Yes sir. Cool. So you brought in some music, man. What do you?
You tell me.
Okay, so let's try this tune by the great Jerry Allyn. It's called "Feed the Fire." Howard University, Jerry Allyn. Rest in peace. Just how we rehearsed it. Oh man, it's a pleasure playing with you, man.
Oh, same.
Yeah,
same
man. I rarely get a chance to do this. You know, hardly ever have two piano players on a gig. Let's talk about your, I guess, some of your career, your influences, I guess. I'm gonna throw out this name and share what that name means to you. Sid.
See, Sid Simmons, growing up in Philly, there was Sid Simmons, Sam Dockery, Shirley Scott, Trudy Pitts, Eddie Green. These are all like great piano players that I had a chance to sit next to. But what was also special about Sid Simmons, one, he was still out there really on the scene and hanging and listening to music. And he played at a club called Ortley, so I got to hear him like almost every week. But even more important than that, we lived not far from each other. So I would drop my kids off at school and go to the grocery store. And you know, Sid didn't shop for like the week; he shopped daily. So that's what I was doing at that point. I'm like, what do I feel like cooking today? My wife would go to work, and we'd meet up at the grocery store almost every day. And I really, those days were special because we talked about music. We stood in the line. That was our like meet up for almost an hour, and then we go home. So, and every time I drive by where he used to live, I think about that. And those were the moments that really mean a lot, you know, and growing up in Philly, it wasn't always at the club. It wasn't always at their gig. It was just running into them and getting to know everyone as a human, you know, and just getting a chance to fellowship with them, whether that's John Swanner, Charles Fambro, you know, it's just like you have here, Philadelphia was, you know, because a lot of people have moved on, and now there's the responsibility is on us now.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
There is a wealth of information growing up in Philadelphia.
How? Tell us why that's important. Like, why just, you know, communing with the masters, like not just, you know, talking about what chord was that, what sharp 13, sharp 16, whatever, you know, get all nerdy about music. You know, share why is it important to?
I mean, the simple reason of just seeing it in action. Everything you know, you look at a recipe, you make it because you want to see what it tastes like once you put all the ingredients in there. And one of the recipes for being a successful person that plays this music is not only everything that's on that paper and, you know, and all the notes and the chord changes. The other part is the community and the fellowship with the elders. So if you're missing that part of the recipe, most of them taste bland.
You preaching, man.
And sound bland, you know. So that's why it's really important to make that effort. You know, even during one of those things I got better at during the pandemic was just calling some of my elders and teachers and just calling them. Because, you know, when we're running around, I should call such and such. And the next thing you know, man, you know, so I really tried to make a point during the pandemic to reach out to all of those people and just let them know how much I care about them.
Yeah, I noticed that about you. You're very, you're very much in touch with a lot of the master musicians. And, you know, I noticed you know, a name that we both love and dearly, you know, Mr. Ralph Peterson, our Uncle Ralph Peterson. And, you know, I noticed, you know, you were very close to him and, you know, looked out for him. You know, he used to call me too. And, you know, talk about, you know, I know you could go on for days about Ralph, but just how important he was to you.
There's certain people in my life that they met me at a certain time and changed my life, you know, so I can't even imagine wow.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
I can't even imagine being the pianist that I am without someone like Ralph Peterson.
Yeah.
You know, and he got on all our nerves. He was a pain in the ass. But he introduced me to so much music and so many opportunities. And there's not much else I can say about it.
I hear you. The record, one of the most pivotal records out there, of course, Art of War. Man, check that record out, The Art of War. Just one, I don't want to, make you.
You already did.
But the people want to see this. This is real. People want to see this. No, but just talk about the record date. I want to know the insides because people talk about the record, but like, tell us a little bit about the record.
Some stuff I can't tell you.
Okay, yeah, that's what I like to hear. See, that's the stuff we want to get to.
Well, one, the record came out on 9/11. That's
right.
why it's called The Art of War. It was released that day. But Ralph honestly wanted us being Jeremy Pelt, Jimmy Green, Eric Rivas, and myself, he was starting his new young band. Mm-hmm. Except his new young band had already had several records out under their own name.
Right.
Rivas was on the road with Brand for Marcellus. So every record, we can tell plenty of stories on Ralph's battle to tame what he hired, So when we listen to, we all talking, when we're doing a tribute to him in May, when we listen to those records, we remember each argument and what it was about, which tune we were about to cuss each other out before we played, because Ralph said something and he was like, we ain't no little boys, so we went through that, But that was always important. We knew that was what made us play the way we play on the bandstand. Mm-hmm. And the last day that I saw Ralph, we all went to his house. Beautiful day. Mm-hmm. A pile of musicians. Lucas Curtis, Craig Handy, Eric Rivas, Jeff Tane Watts. We all just drove up there. And we were hanging out with him. And he played his next record, the record that was about to be released. Mm-hmm. And they told old stories and everything. And he looked at all of us and he said, I have no regrets in how I played. He said, every time I sat on the bandstand, I played with all my heart.
Yes, he did.
He said, and there's very few people that can say that. And that's true. He played with all his heart when we only wanted half of it.
Right, exactly.
But he did it.
Yes, sir.
He did it, and I admire him for that. Yeah. He showed us all that we were worthy, whether we knew it or not.
Mm-hmm. The last time I spoke to Ralph, we were getting ready to record. He wanted to do this band with me, Chris Funn, Gary Thomas, and Sean. And he wanted to do it in December before he passed. And I'm like, why is he trying to hurry up and do this record? Why is he trying to hurry? I want to do this record. You know how he is. Like, we couldn't get together on the last week of December because it was Christmas. So we want to do it in May. He was gone, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why he wanted to,
He knew though, because that was a double record. It was supposed to be that band and the other. He was going to bring
the old band.
So they were going to do
he
both.
did mention that.
Yeah, he was going to do both of it, and some of us were just like, nah, man, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And I knew he wanted to. I knew he needed to. But honestly, if you get to leave a last record like he left, two last records that he left. One was with Brandon Goldberg. Man, everybody needs to check it out. It's like Ralph, a couple months before he passed, but playing with so much heart. And then his last record, with
was the big band?
Trio.
No, oh, that's right. Yeah, he did it at his
studio, at his house. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of Maestro Ralph, we have a couple of his tunes that we want to do. Do you want to do the waltz first?
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph wrote a tune called Mom, M-O-M. Uncle Ralph, mom, supposedly, I'm sure it's written for his mother. Such a beautiful tune. Ralph was a special guy, excellent musician. Yeah, we're going to miss him. But his music lives on, because we're going to keep playing it. You will hear this again.
Yeah, yeah.
You will hear this again. Where should we go now? As a composer, you know, you have your big band, and you have so many hats you wear, man. First, how do you have time, you know, from Captain Black to your record label, and then you playing with everybody, you know? How do you?
Nah, I mean, it definitely, it seems, I seem way more busy to everybody else than I actually am. But, which is great, which is good.
Yeah.
But still call me. But I mean, honestly, with, you know, I have an amazing support system. Mm-hmm. Not only in my house with my wife, Captain Black Big Band exists because of so many other amazing arrangers and organizers. You know, it's definitely a group project with people like Todd Bayshore and David Gibson. Yeah. And then with the label, Luke O'Reilly and Jonathan Michelle and Caleb Wheeler Curtis are three people that are on my label. And Caleb is also a webmaster.
Oh, okay.
So he helps out in those things, and John Michelle helps out in other areas, and so does Luke. So it's when you know, everybody sees on social media, I say the word and the term, the village. Yeah. But it really is. You know, we all just come with what we can do to help, you know, get what needs to be done. Yeah. And it makes it easier. Where although I'm busy, I'm never carrying this all on my own, you know, with a great support system around me.
Yeah. Well, I want to get, you know, I want to be hired as an engineer.
There you go. There you go.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk. But no, I love, man. You know, I love what you're doing, man. You know, you seem to find time to, you know, be on the cutting edge of this music, and you've been doing it for many years. I remember meeting you at the old Twins, you know, up on Colorado Avenue, and you know, and I just watch you grow and play with so many great musicians. And we were talking about Uncle Bobby Watson.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me why you love Uncle Bobby so much.
Well, I mean, definitely. When I first moved to New York, that was my first gig, first on the road gig, and going out with. I mean, if you want to like get ready to go on the road for the first, I think I was turning. We went out in February. I was turning 22, so I was still 21. I was about to turn 22. And that was my first time out on the road with Bobby Watson, and it was a split tour. Essie did some of it. Rodney Green, who was even younger than me, no, that was the second tour. But the first tour was Will Calhoun.
Wow.
And John Benitez, and then I went back out again, and with Curtis Lundy and Ronnie Barrage. So just, you know, and I was 20-something. And so it was a lot to learn real quick, and I ain't even talking about on the bandstand. Yeah. You know, it was just a lot to learn, and they were always. I mean, this is a goofy story, but I like it. We were in like the north of Italy, a town called Bolzano. So I was young, and I was trying to be all like. You know, so the menu came, and I didn't, and even now, I don't ask questions because I eat everything. So I'm just like, oh, I'll try that, you know, and then if it comes, I'm like, okay, cool, that's good. So I'm just open like that on the food tip. So.
Oh, I think I heard this story, but go ahead, tell it anyway.
So I ordered, and I was like, okay, I had a mushroom risotto. And I'm sitting around the table, it's like Ronnie Barrage, Bobby Watson, Curtis Lundy, Jack Walrath was there too, and then the people from the festival. So I'm clearly the youngest one there. And my food comes over, I'm still trying to be all bougie and sitting there eating my food, and first thing out of my mouth, I look up and said, tastes like rice.
Oh my God.
Never mind, you had to be there. Curtis never let me live that one down.
He start calling you Rice.
And then Heidi wrote a song about it.
Oh, she said, oh, that's that song about you?
No, it's not.
We know that song.
Yeah, we know that song.
Yeah. Rice. Yeah. That's one of Heidi's hits, man.
I know.
That's one of her hits, man. Everybody in DC know that song. We love that song. Oh, that's hilarious, man. I watched the interview with Mike, and there's another musician that was with you. It said he wanted
yeah.
Alfredo.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one. Yeah,
that was
the other one.
Yeah. Wow. So, as a composer, man, what things influence you besides music?
I mean, for me, it's experiences and people. You know, 90% of my tunes are written about people or experiences of, you know, places I've been, but they're all related to, you know, relationships and people in my life some kind of way. And that inspires me. I mean, you know, and then the other thing that inspires me is a commission where they pay you to write.
Oh, yeah.
I get really inspired around those times.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that because musicians, we always don't have time to be inspired.
Exactly.
So
that helps.
How do you, you know, they're like, oh, yeah, I want you to write a composition, you know, and tomorrow, we'll pay you this amount of money.
Oh, I come up with some amazing stuff, you know. But it also comes, sometimes you sit down and you write and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And you go back to it and you're like, I already wrote that. You know, So I was saying to somebody today in one of the master classes, that's the time when you change up what's on your iPod. You change up something in your life to get, you know, change up a store that you go to or whatever. Yeah. So that you experience something new to bring back to the table when you need to compose. Because sometimes we get caught in the same, you know, harmonic, you know, journey, and it's, sometimes you just got to go and listen or see or experience something different.
Yeah. I've found that out myself, even during the pandemic. I mean, I was writing tunes every day, and but, you know, sometimes you just have to just step away from your instrument and step away from music, you know, and because it can become overwhelming, you know. Let's see. Maybe we should play one or two last ones. They talking about three. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions I want to. One more question before we play our last. We can do two songs together. Like, just as a working musician, for you know, I'm sure there are young musicians out here. Some of my students should be here. When you've played with a lot of people, a lot of great musicians and leaders. What things do you think about, or how do you think about accompanying different people? Does your style change? How do you adapt? How do you think about that? Like playing.
Honestly, it took, at a certain point, I had to realize that that person hired me, and that's not something you get the first day, you know, your first couple gigs. But in my journey, and that I'm still going on now, I had to realize, okay, they called me. They know what I sound like. Right. You know, so be me, you know, with respect to what they need on the bandstand, but still they hired me. Right. You know, so don't, and sometimes when we get a gig with somebody else, we listen to the music, we're like, I'm gonna play it just like that person. Oh, yeah. And I had to get like, no, they hired me. Yeah. You know? So that's the first thing, really spend the time checking out all the elders, putting that information in your book bag while finding your own voice. You know, take that journey to find your own voice. Yeah.
I played with a certain saxophone player, And this was, I was probably in my 30s. Probably in my 30s, yeah. And he said, I'm not gonna say the musician's name, but he said, I want you to play like so-and-so. And I'm gonna tell you, so-and-so wasn't McCoy, it wasn't Herbie, it wasn't Wynton Kelly, it wasn't Oscar Peterson. It was a contemporary.
Right.
And I held my mouth, because I almost said, well, won't you go call him?
Yeah.
He can do the, won't you get him to do this gig?
Yeah.
You know, and at this age, I'm like, I'm gonna play the music, but I'm not gonna try to play like this person or that person, you know.
Exactly.
But I don't want the students to get the wrong idea.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I don't want
that's a journey, you know.
I don't want the students, you know. I mean, we're all students, but I don't want the young musicians to get the wrong idea. Like, you know, you don't have to study the masters. Like, I got my own sound. Well, you know, you're gonna have your own sound.
Find your sound.
But you still have to study the history. But anyway,
I
think that.
And don't do the gig.
Right. But you know, I appreciate you, man, and
thank you.
We thank you here at UDC, and DC thanks you. You know, yes. Let's give it up for Mr. Orrin Evans.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, I wrote a song for Orrin. I try to make it a point to write a composition for my guests, and I wrote a song for Orrin, and maybe we can do that one, and then go into Smoke Rings, maybe. Okay, we're gonna do an untitled song I wrote for Orrin. It's called "Song for Orrin." And then we're going to go into another Ralph Peterson composition called Smoke Rings. And we thank you for coming. God bless you, and good night. And thank you to DC Jazz Festival and the University of the District of Columbia for hosting. Professor Corey, thank you. UDC staff, DC Jazz Festival staff, sound, video, interweb, everybody. Thank you. Orrin Evans, everyone. The great Orrin Evans.
Allyn Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Thank you. Just so you'll know, thank you.
Thank you.
April 25th, we will be having a great celebration for our brother, Howard Kingfish Franklin, here at the university, featuring the great alto saxophonist, Bruce Williams. So put that on your calendar, April 25th. Thank you very much. God bless you. Good night.
On your way out, be sure to take Orrin Evans home with you. We are selling a CD outside. So please, this was a free event. Please take a moment to stop past the CD table and take Orrin Evans' latest recording home with. Is that the one with Kevin Eubanks? Okay, so there are a couple of them out there and you can choose. So thank you. Get home safe and thank you for coming.